Night 1 of Indiana Sprint Week concluded here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway as for the first time the USAC National Sprint Car Championship raced on the dirt oval inside turn number 3 here at the famed Brickyard. And as an exhibition event to kick off the Indiana Sprint Week, I don't think you really ask for anything better. Now, I say exhibition, that's because in the historical sense, when you look back on the Sprint Week winners, you will see Justin Grant's name in the history books, but it's not going to count towards the championship points. It's going to start tomorrow night. So this is kind of an all-star showdown of all the best sprint car drivers that USAC has to offer, and they put on one heck of a show. You had 20 drivers racing on this tiny little bull ring here inside the north end of the speedway, and fists were flying, words were flying, and so were the cars. This was a very aggressive driver racetrack, as due to the heat and the humidity, it made this track really sticky. So in order to make the passes, you had to make some aggressive slides to try and make it happen, and more times than not, it ended up with cars rolling up over or heading up into the wall or spinning out completely. This was a really exciting race to kick off, and it's going to be really exciting as we get set for the next 8 races in 9 nights. So we have a lot to look forward to. Let's look at your highlights and then go over your race results.
Protect your vehicle with peak original equipment technology. Our formulas match the vehicle manufacturer's technology requirements so that we have the perfect match for every vehicle.
For the A main, Robert Ballou would get an early jump in the lead and set sail as Mitchell Moles, Kyle Cummins, Kevin Thomas Jr., and Logan Seavey battled within the top 5. The first big wreck would come for local favorite Kyle Cummins as a slight job from Justin Grant left Mitchell Moles hanging as Chase Stockton and Kyle Cummins piled in, with Cummins ending on his roof. Another quick yellow would fly on the ensuing restart as Charles Davis Jr. and Harley Burns collided in turn number 4. On the next green flag run, Justin Grant would begin to reel in Ballou as by the halfway point of the race, he once again gave a similar slide job to Ballou, which cost him to fall back to 3rd. Then the night would continue to deteriorate for the 12 car as smoke began to pour out of the back of the race car as the caution would once again fly. Kyle Cummins' night would continue to get worse as he would get swept up in a wreck between the 34 of Shane Cottle and the 5T of Jake Swanson, which would turn heated as Shane jumped out of the car and started a war of words between the two. And the rumor right now, fists did fly between the two as Shane jumped in the cockpit. On the last restart of the night, the fight would continue between Justin Grant and Logan Seavey for the lead, but in the end, it would be Justin Grant claiming the first win of 2025 Indiana Sprint Week. And looking at your top 10 results for the night, Justin Grant in the number 4 car would take the win over the number 57 of Logan Seavey. Robert Ballou with a failing engine would reel the car in to finish 3rd, having to fend off a hard-charging Kevin Thomas Jr. Because of that battle, it made it only a 2-car race as Kevin Thomas was unable to get around the 12, causing a massive stack-up as Cale Drake, Brady Bagan, and Mitchell Moles were all right behind them. In the 8th position, you're going to find the 6T of Trey Osborne. In the 9th, the 21 AZ of CJ Leary, who had a rough go of in the hot laps in the heat session, but ends up with a top 10 result. Jaden Rogers in the number 14 ends up in the 10th spot. Back in 11th, you're going to find Haley Burns. Jake Swanson in the 5T reels back in to a 12th place finish after his run-in with Shane Cottle. Gunnar Setzer in the 5G finished 13th. Rylan Gray in the 14th. Kyle Cummins, after a disappointing night after having the car to beat all afternoon, finishes 15th. Shane Cottle back in 16th. Ricky Lewis in 17th. 18th is going to be Charles Davis Jr. 19th is Chase Stockton. And 20th is Carson Short. And we did have a chance to catch up with some of the podium finishers after tonight's race and get to ask them questions about how this track was and what to look forward to as they head to Lincoln Park to kick off the Indiana Sprint Week Championship. Standard Robert Ballou, you finished 3rd. You had an incredible night to start off, but obviously by the midway point of the race, it started to go sour for you. Just kind of take us through what this A main was for you tonight.
You know, it's just one of them deals. I've had pretty much flawless engines my whole racing career, and parts aren't made as good as they used to be, and it's just one of them deals. You got to weather the storm. Had a motor just lay down on me before halfway, and I'm just honestly thankful that it lasted. I knew that it was blowing oil out of the thing. I cleared out all the mosquitoes for all the fans tonight, so nobody should get West Nile.
You know, this is the first time that we've had the full USAC field here for a sprint car race at the dirt here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Talk us through what this night meant for you guys to get to come back here. I mean, it's been a long time since the sprint car has run inside this racetrack. What was it like for you just to get to bring these cars here tonight?
You know, it's an unbelievable stage. You know, they don't make a bigger stage than the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. So, you know, we thank Roger Penske, Doug Bowles, Susie, Elliott, she's got a big role in this. There's a lot of people involved in making this thing go. It's extremely expensive. Obviously, USAC spends a lot of money to make this deal go, and it obviously showed tonight that it puts on pretty badass racing for a little bitty bull ring. It's like fighter jets in a gymnasium. So, I think I'm pretty sure that. Are we going to be back next year? I think we're going to be back next year. So, I think it's all right.
First off, that's a nice Dick Trickle reference. I appreciate that. When you had the engine issues midway through the race, we saw towards that last restart, you really had to fend off Kevin Thomas Jr. to keep a hold of that third spot. Just how hard was that, knowing that one small mistake and you open up that bottom, you have a whole pack of cars just waiting, trying to get around you? Yeah,
well, the engine was trying to die. Obviously, oil in the cylinders, it doesn't let the spark plugs fire very well. So if you let it idle down too much, it was trying to die, but you had to slow down to hit the bottom, and it wouldn't run well enough to run around the top any longer. So I was pretty much committed to the bottom, and I was on defense. If they wanted to drive around me, they were going to have to go around that middle to the top. And I held the bottom as good as I could, and obviously we were able to hold on to third place.
The big picture here is, of course, the Sprint Week title. This kind of being an exhibition warm-up event for tomorrow night at Lincoln Park. How a bit kind of, easing is it to know that even though you had this issue, it's not going to count towards the Sprint Week, and you get to go tomorrow toward Lincoln Park to have a fresh start and hopefully start it off on the right foot?
Well, it's one of them deals. If you could get a third place every night, you're going to win Sprint Week. So third place tonight with a sour engine is you like winning the race, honestly. So made a little bit of money, go to the next one, and tomorrow starts the points for the week, and tonight wasn't a point race for us. And we'll go back to the shop tonight. We weren't planning on it, but just went and picked up some engines in Pennsylvania last week, and gracious my boss, Scott Ronk, he builds all of our torsion bars, and he let me have a few days off to get my ducks in a row, and so even though we lost this one engine here, we're still geared up better than anybody in the pit area. So we're just a little bit short on money. So if the Mighty Mac has a few followers that has any money, we're the last privateer race team left. We got all volunteer help here, and just thankful my buddy Coulter Heffernan was able to come tonight, and Jimmy Crawford and Roger the Cop, and these factory cane shocks and DRC chassis obviously put us forward.
Staryn Logan Seavey, runner up here tonight. I know that's not what you wanted, but it's got to feel really good after the hard-fought race you had in the A-Main to get out here with a silver medal.
Yeah, it feels great. My car was really good. I started the 8th, and I was passing guys right away, and I was kind of the only one that was really high into one most of the race, if not all the race. I found some speed up there early, and I was able to get to third fairly quickly, and then we kind of got racing there with Justin and Robert, and had a few good runs on Justin early in the race, and probably should have went for him and didn't, and then late in the race I had one that I was like, man, this is the one. This is I got him cleared on entry, and then I just didn't get off the 2 very good, and he was able to cross me over, and then he nailed the bottom and got back away from me, and then he kind of got some stuff figured out and couldn't really ever fully close that gap. So great way to start the week. Yeah, it's a place that I think nobody really knew how it was going to race, but I feel like it turned out to probably be a pretty exciting race there. And sprint cars always fun on good shiz.
You talked about the challenges trying to make passes here, even get the runs correct. This weather conditions really provided a tacky racetrack here in the A-Main. Just how challenging was it to get those runs corrected and be able to run off the top and try and make those passes?
Yeah, exactly. You said it. It's just about timing everything. Not really. Trying to be a little smarter, and it's kind of cost me a little bit here lately. Probably cost me a few wins by not being aggressive enough early, and thinking I'll get some better looks. And tonight I did get a better look and didn't execute. And a few weeks ago it was a little soft early and never got a good look. So these places, especially these small tracks, are always going to be tough, and it's kind of just about, for one, having a good car that's fast and has speed, and you're able to drive and maneuver and go top, bottom, middle, and they kind of gave us a good track all night where we could race around there, and I think it probably exceeded most people's expectations, having a full field like that and putting on a pretty good show. It took a little bit to get going there in the first half of the race, but once we got going, it was a really good race.
We heard a couple of drivers talk about this track, comparing it P2, the Chili Bowl for sprint cars. You of all people would know what that's like and know what it would take to make it a Chili Bowl. Is this kind of what it's like for you guys out there? Is this like the Tulsa for 410 sprint cars?
Maybe at one day. Not yet. I mean, it's definitely, they did a great job for the first race. You know, making sure the track was good, and there's a lot of people here and all that. I'm hoping the atmosphere in the stands was good and everyone's having fun and upbeat, and that makes it a lot more fun as a fan, you know. And yeah, I mean, I think overall it seemed successful from my point of view for, you know, just a whole show, and not really having to work the track way too much. Didn't have any really big breaks, and kind of kept the show moving. So yeah, overall, I mean, I thought, you know, there wasn't any big crashes or anything, a few pile-ups, but nothing too crazy. So yeah, I mean, I think overall it was a success, and hard to compare, you know, a race that's on year one compared to, you know, the Chili Bowl that's coming up on 40. So yeah, you never know. Races like this could turn into something like that, and yeah, hopefully it keeps getting bigger and they just keep putting more stands up around this place. And cool to see Roger showed up. I don't know how long he was here, but I know he's here for at least a heat race or two, and watched it, and I know he, you know, they say he supports this and likes it a lot. So it's cool that, you know, he bought the racetrack and keeps his dirt track around, lets us race here. So yeah, I mean, overall, I think it has the potential to be something really big and really cool. And yeah, hopefully this is the first of many, and, you know, I think it was a good show.
I'm more referring to how the track runs for these cars, with how challenging it is to pass, with how tacky it is, and how tight it is in the lap car situation. Is that close to what a 410 sprint car would be like if you ran it there?
Maybe, yeah. I mean, the track shape's a little bit different. This place is a little bit longer straightaways and tight turns, where the Chili Bowl's a little bit more round and, you know, longer corners and shorter straightaways. So yeah, I mean, it's hard to compare anything, you know. It'd be but yeah, I mean, it could be compared to that for sure. Just really small and tight quarters and close racing and all of that. But no, I mean, I think this place feels even smaller, you know, than the Chili Bowl. Chili Bowl with the midget is, I mean, it's definitely small, but it doesn't feel super small when you're racing, or really tight. You know, it's really wide and you have a lot of room to race and whatnot. So yeah, I mean, I'm sure you can make a few comparisons, but it also is pretty different in a lot of ways.
You know, this being an exhibition event, it was a great start for you guys to get set for the real challenge of the Indiana Sprint Week. You're going to be heading out to Lincoln Park tomorrow, a track that has been really good to you over the past few years on this tour. How exciting is it to come out of here with a P2 and have the momentum going to a racetrack that you know you're going to be the guy to beat? Yeah,
exactly. You know, it's a place, you know, 2 years ago, I don't think I'd ever run, you know, maybe on the podium, and now we've had like 4 or 5 sprint car wins there, and I don't know, we've been on the podium every race the last couple of years. So a track I've always liked, just didn't have a lot of success until, you know, early last year, and we've been on a great run there. So yeah, we've had, you know, unbelievable speed. So it's a place we all go into, you know, thinking we're going to have a great shot to win, and yeah, great place to kick off our, you know, real, you know, point racing sprint week, and certainly helps coming off a good run here. A place I haven't had any great results in. We've had some good speed, but haven't had any great results here at IMS. So it's nice to get a good finish for my team and our guys, and have everybody go back to the shop tonight and good moods, and get everything ready for tomorrow and get the rest of the 7 nights going.
All right, standing here with Justin Grant, your A-main winner tonight here in the Indianapolis Motor Speedway dirt track. It's got to feel really good getting to come back here and winning the sprint car at this track.
Yeah, it feels awesome to win here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway tonight with our NOS Energy Drink Top Motorsports sprint car. It's yeah, awesome. You know, it's an honor to race here, and to get to win makes it that much better.
You know, you came out here for hot laps. We see everybody come out there, and it seems like that midpoint is going to be a 12.3 to beat. You go out there, almost breaking into the 11s. Did you know right then and there how good this car really was going to be tonight?
Yeah, I mean, I knew we had a good package to work with for the rest of the night. The surface changes a lot from hot laps to the end of the night when you're dirt racing. So just because you're good early is not a guarantee that you're going to be good late. You got to keep up with the track and keep up with your race car, and kind of change your driving approach. But it's certainly a lot better to start out fast than to start out slow.
You know, we saw tonight, in order to make these passes, you had to make some pretty aggressive slide jobs towards the midpoint of the race. Was that just a factor of the fact of how tacky this track was with the heat and the humidity, that you only way you could pass is just by sending it in the corner and hoping it sticks?
Yeah, I mean, you really, really small racetrack here, not a lot of room to move around, and it was pretty top dominant, pretty fast there. So about the only thing you're going to do is get a run off the corner and try and fire off across the bottom and slide up and beat a guy to the middle of the corner. And a lot of times you got to make them lift, and you got to make them make a choice. And so, you know, when it gets like this and it's top dominant and fast, small track, you got to put guys in positions that they got to make decisions they might not want to make.
You know, there was a famous quote from Dick Trickle. He ran a little 500, got out of the car and said, this was like running fighter jets in a gymnasium, having a track this tiny and cars that powerful. Would you say this is the dirt equivalent of that?
Yeah. It was honestly a lot better than I thought it was going to be size-wise. You know, I had kind of thought it was going to be like trying to run with your shoelaces tied together, you know, but it was good. It was racy, and yeah, it was much more on the fighter jets in a gymnasium than I thought it would be.
You know, heading into tomorrow, this is a perfect prelude. You come here, dominate the event, you win it, and now you're going to go tomorrow, officially start sprint week on the right note. How much of a good mojo is this for you guys? You head towards Lincoln Park tomorrow night.
Yeah, it's a long week, you know, long 10 days coming up, and any bit of confidence, momentum, you know, that you can build is a huge deal. So take anything we can get rolling into sprint week, and hopefully we come out good on the other end.
And that is going to wrap up our coverage from inside the dirt oval here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Again, I hope this event comes back. Roger Penske was in attendance here, sitting outside of Turn 2. He was down at the Hauler Parade, went down to St. Elmo's to have a dinner with NASCAR executives, then came right back here to watch the final moments of the race through the heats and the mains. He seemed to be a really big fan of this. Doug Bull seems to be a fan of this. I believe this race is going to come back next year. Would I have liked to be in Gas City? Yes. Is it great to be here and see a race like this on what is described as a chili bowl for sprint cars? Yes. I hope that this event becomes more of an actual points-paying race rather than just an exhibition event, because I know it's a little bit tricky because of the tight pits and the tight racetrack, but man, oh man, what a chaotic way to start sprint week. And this is where if this was for the championship, it would have been even crazier. Once again, thank you to our friends at Peak Performance. They are sponsoring our coverage here of the 2025 Indiana Sprint Week. So thank you to them for all the support they have given us. They're also going to be supporting us as we can now announce we're going to be going to Pomona once again for the NHRA Finals. The championship fight is heating up, and we're going to be there to see how it ends up. So if you want to stay up to date with everything going on, and not just here in the dirt track, but of course back home on the drag strips, be sure to subscribe today so you don't miss any of the upcoming content. I cannot thank our friends at Peak Performance enough. Be sure to join the Peak Squad down below. They have been incredible partners for us all year long. Be sure to follow us on the social media pages down below. Mighty Matt Go 3 on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. And until tomorrow night from Lincoln Park Speedway, this is Mighty Mac. We'll see you next time.